Welcome to Around the NFL, presented by Verizon. You are excited because the Eagles are one step away from another Super Bowl. And you will be in Philadelphia this weekend.
I'm going to Philly. I'm going back home. It's
Wow.
very exciting. I cannot wait.
Connie, you are really traveling the NFL world lately.
I'm doing the circuit. Yeah,
It's very good.
great. It's great. Just got back from Buffalo late last night, and that was so much fun.
What was
the
it
game,
like?
not as much
I was gonna
fun,
say.
I guess, because obviously there were more Bills fans there than Bengals fans, but
because the home
tailgate
team totally was terrible. That's why I wasn't.
Bit of a buzzkill
A
there.
little bit.
What was it like after the game at the stadium? I heard a lot of Cincinnati fans there, too.
There were a ton of Cincy fans there, so that was good, but it was somber. It was a little
But then weren't you
depressing.
looking for a place to go out on the town in Buffalo after the game?
I was trying to find a place in Buffalo to watch the Eagles game on Saturday night,
Right.
But instead I just watched it at the hotel
They'd be in
bar.
a better mood on Saturday night.
Yes.
All right, so, yes. And then there were four teams left. Championship Sunday coming up this weekend. We will have our preview of Championship Sunday on Thursday. So make sure you check that out. And, of course, the flagship program Sunday night will recap and talk about who's playing in Super Bowl 57 in Glendale, Arizona. We will be there. That's when we get on a plane, Connie, and we will be at the Super Bowl. So we're kind of nearing the finish line here, Greggy, in a lot of ways.
Well, we had 6 weeks of the preseason, of working in the preseason
Right.
since camp started. We had 18 regular season weeks. We've now had 2 playoff weeks, so that's 26 weeks total.
Oh, no, don't do this. I hate when this happens because it's true.
I'm going to say it. We're now past halfway through the season.
It feels that way
Yes.
finally. About halfway point on
love
this
it.
past weekend, it felt like we
We
reached that.
basically, like, wild card round or the end of the regular season is the equivalent of a hump day. So, yeah, we're coming in for a landing, a long landing. All right, coming up today, tech. Tech is the future. Tech will always be the future, and science is the path forward for humans, and it could be the end. Let's face it. It can go in a lot of different directions. And with that said, coming up is a wonderful piece of hardware and software. It's dual, right?
Yep, the software is run inside the hardware.
It's
Right.
that beautiful mix of the
It's
two.
a beautiful
Wow.
mix, a
arts.
synergy.
Yeah.
Bridget returns today on Around the NFL.
Long awaited.
It's been a while. It's been a minute since we've seen Bridget.
The Lamar Jackson-like contract situation, but we've settled it.
See, I thought Bridget Condon was coming on the show today.
Right. This is not a joke,
I
by the
really
way.
was confused
I said
about
we're going to
this.
do Bridget today, and Connie thought our colleague, Ms. Condon, was joining us.
Yeah.
Until 2 minutes ago.
Right.
So you have a whole line of questioning for Bridget, and
Yeah, she's at the Collegiate Bowl right now, so that was a good waste of
so
time.
throw out those notes.
And to open the kimono one step further, there was we were like, wait, we did Bridget before,
Right.
on the show. We've had Bridget on the computer. What was the segment? We're like, we never even know what the segment is. So it's
Right.
like I went back to look for Bridget to understand how we interacted with her, which was largely not in my favor, I realized. But
Right. We'll get to that. That's one of
Yeah.
the reasons Bridget had to go into the shop.
But because Bridget
it were.
Condon
Can't wait
had been
for
on our
this.
show, you
Yeah.
could not find Bridget, the hardware software machine,
Right.
anywhere in the search.
Yeah.
So it's a problem.
Now we're talking how the
we've now had a
sausage
human
gets
Bridget on
made.
the show.
Oh! And Bridget is an acronym. We're going to get to all of it. But before we do that, let's hit the news. All right, let's start with the biggest story, the biggest health story, I should say, in the NFL ahead of championship weekend. Patrick Mahomes. What is going on with that ankle? He suffered the high ankle sprain on Saturday against the Jaguars. Andy Reid said in his press conference on Monday that the sprain isn't that bad, and it's not as bad as the one he suffered a few years back and played through. So again, Connie, everything's pointing to, yes, Mahomes is playing, but the big question of going against the mighty Bengals, who are playing at a very sky-high level, will this version of Mahomes be good enough against a great opponent?
Well, every time Joe Burrow and these Bengals have played the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes has been 100%, and they've lost every single time. So that is a little concerning going into this game. And obviously, Patrick Mahomes can be a pocket quarterback just as well as he can ad-lib different plays, but That's his strength. And Mahomes, he's never been in a position where he's missed an entire week of practice and then played a game in the NFL. So all of this is new territory against a team that is absolutely locked in and loaded on both sides of the ball. And it seems like there's nothing that's going to stop them anytime soon. And we saw his mobility, how limited it was after that hit. I mean, he didn't throw any passes outside of the pocket, and that is an area that he led the NFL in this season. So it's problematic.
He led the NFL though in touchdowns inside the pocket too. So it's like his numbers went up in that game, which is crazy. Like his yards per attempt, like his second half numbers were actually better per throw. Not that you want,
I don't lie though. He was
you don't want
definitely
this.
lesser.
I kind of forgot that ankle sprain he had in 2019. It was his left ankle, so that's a little different. You know, it's not your plant ankle, but he did follow up that ankle sprain, which Reed is saying, and he has some self-interest in saying that it's not worse. He did follow that up with 7 touchdowns and like 800 yards in his next 2 games.
Do you think that this is maybe, and you know, there is some talk out there that sometimes the top broadcast booths in the league just get a little bit relentless in their praise of these big quarterbacks, and it almost gets in the way of the telecast at times. Is this all just a long con, Mark, for Mahomes to play out of his mind on Sunday and it to be turned into its own movie in a few years?
Yeah, I mean, if I were to pick anyone where that would happen, the whole dynamic with the announcing team that you mentioned and all that business, yes. I mean, just because I also
is on Mark's radar.
No, it's not though, because I think like Mahomes, he played really well against Jacksonville after the injury, and they're very adaptable. I think I trust the Chiefs and Andy Reid and Mahomes to be more adaptable with like the pocket stuff. You can also, you can roll them out to a side where like the line is moving with them if you want to do some of that stuff. It does take elements of their offense away, but who do you trust more to like with their 7,000 play playbook that they put together over the years to come up with a counter and to make it work? And so yes, I could see. I don't know if it's going to be a movie. I mean, I think we're getting the movie this Sunday, but like,
and it does speak to the great unknowableness of sports that, how many more pounds or ounces of pressure needed to be put on that leg before it broke like Tony Pollard's did. And they survived. He was able to get out of there without it being a broken lower leg, and now he has a chance to win another Super Bowl. That's good, because that would have been a supreme bummer if the Chiefs survived, but we got Henny.
Oh, you don't need that.
Dan,
B. Burrow.
Are you saying that Mahomes has superior bones?
I think his bones are rock solid.
Because usually a high ankle sprain, you usually are out. I mean, I think there's a non-zero chance that we get some Chad Henne on Sunday. Probably not for the first snap, but you just don't know.
Yeah, that's for sure. Let's check in with the Patriots, Greggy, who have made their hire at offensive coordinator, and it's a familiar name, Bill O'Brien, old Billy Boy. He was the offensive coordinator in New England from 2009 to 2011, and now he returns from the college game to try to fix an offense that, let's face it, pretty much cratered with Matt Patricia leading the way.
I love it. I'm surprised I love anything involving Bill O'Brien, but when you're replacing Matt Patricia as offensive coordinator, and you think back to that 09 to 11 teams, I think I would argue those are some of the most influential offenses of the last 20 years. They kind of changed the game in terms of hurry up and their 2 tight ends, and Bill O'Brien was the guy behind it. And yes, he's been an annoying figure, like running the Texans and kind of taking power, and he clearly plays the media well. I think he has some fans at the highest levels of the Patriots organization. Like, all that could be annoying at times, but like his offenses were always quite good. Like Deshaun Watson played his best football with Bill O'Brien, Matt Schaub, and all the Case Keenum and all the people that like he ended up coaching up. Like I'm excited.
Well, I think Tom Brady loved him. They were feeling themselves so much during that era. Where, like, remember the week they went and just had Chip Kelly before Chip Kelly became someone that we all knew about with Philly, et cetera. Just come into the Patriots building and kind of teach him his, high-speed offense. And then they went and ran it against the Peyton Manning Broncos and, like, did something no other NFL team had done. No, I don't think that was the Bill O'Brien year at OC, because that was only 1 year, 2011. And they came in second or third in points scored. They were a high-powered offense. He's not O'Brien, the GM. I don't need that business, and you're not going to get that. I mean, to me, it's great for Mac Jones, who also helped teach Bill O'Brien what Alabama was doing when he went to Alabama. So the relationship's already there. I think that's
We're big.
you need.
I'm a little surprised by how glowing we are right
Well,
now.
here's the key. He's
good for
replacing
Mac
Joe
Jones.
Judge and Patricia.
Right.
So
Well, yes.
if they had hired Mike
I
LaFleur,
agree
I
with
would
that.
have been
Right.
as excited or more.
Right.
Just like anyone that's
Anybody,
It's
yeah.
just
Solid.
nice to have an offensive coordinator
Yeah.
back in
That's
New
good.
England. Like
That's it.
That seems like the right move.
Yeah.
They completely set up Mac Jones to fail last year with what they had in place, in addition to the offensive line and then no real pass catchers. So now that he's with Bill O'Brien, we have to see that growth this year.
I mean, it's an extremely safe move. It's going back to what you're comfortable with, what you knew, and there is a big difference between the offense that O'Brien was running with New England then and now, and it's Tom Brady, who is in the middle of peak 2.0 at that time. So now he has to do it with a lesser quarterback in Mac Jones, and I think it's a good hire.
But you know what? With Mac Jones, even last year, like
We'll see.
when Zappe was in there, they did a ton of play action. And then if you look at the numbers when Jones was in there, it's like they went away from it and almost didn't even do what Jones did well.
Right.
And they're talking about incorporating Alabama's offense along with just making it something that Mac Jones said he couldn't be more thrilled about it. So it's like you change the energy around your quarterback. That is the big first
They
step.
could have
of this.
hired the guy that was like shoveling the stairs at Gillette Stadium as OC, and it would probably be like, this is probably worth a shot as an upgrade.
That would have
That's
been
how
an
bad it
upgrade.
was.
That
It's
would
a
have
better
been
situation.
If they just had the rookie year Mac Jones offense and last year's Patriots defense, I don't think that team would have won a playoff game, but they would have been like the 6th seed.
And
they would have been a much
It's
better
like more
team
interesting
than
in
this.
general.
Does Patricia and Judge stay on staff?
probably, right?
Does everyone just have a forever safe home if you're under Bill?
I think
Probably,
so,
right?
yeah.
Probably. I don't know. I guess
He's
we'll find
definitely
out.
like my son. Like he doesn't meet anyone new. He's just like he has his old friends, and he's not.
friends
gonna
are your
make-
friends.
He's not making any new friends at this point.
Sure. Speaking of Tom Brady,
Did you just compare yourself to Bill Belichick?
All I mean is like
He does it all the time, Mark.
I have the friends I have. I've struggled to make any new ones. I wonder why that would be. It's just like all of my friends from childhood and college. Me and all my friends are jerks.
Tom Brady has a podcast. I think we've talked about this on the show. Sometimes we're a little bit surprised. It's like, oh, Tom Brady's podcast. Shouldn't that be the biggest podcast in the world?
It's one of my favorite things about podcasts, that our podcast is a much bigger podcast than all these big names out there.
Hey.
Tom Brady, I'm sure if you asked him about us, he'd say, oh, they're the GOAT.
No doubt.
No doubt. Anyway, on the latest edition of the Let's Go podcast with Tom Brady, Jim Gray, and Larry Fitzgerald. Oh, Fitz is on that show now.
Yeah.
Jim Gray, did you send that? Does Jim Gray have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame?
I did send that. I was walking down the Walk of Fame a week or so ago and stopped in my tracks to realize that
Nuts.
No
with like the
way.
little, because you either have like the camera or
Right.
the television because you're a television dude,
Yeah.
or you get the little old school
Radio
radio
dude, yeah.
mic, and he's got not surprisingly, a radio mic. But it was like it did surprise me that he's there. I think that is
Oh,
typically
I thought he had the TV with the antennas.
no, I think it was radio, but he's more of a broadcasting type icon, I guess. But like in general, does that just come through an agent?
I
How do you-
just
I
really
feel like-
love Hollywood Sessler. That is
Yeah.
just dialing into like
He's plugged in.
old school Hollywood. You're doing the walk, like
It's
you're,
on my.
Well,
it's-
yeah.
it's-
I love
it's-
it.
Yeah, it's on my walk. so.
People do like to demean that they use it sort of as a PR thing. You have to pay about $40,000-$50,000 for the star
you
yourself.
pay for it.
Now, it could be yourself paying for it, or it could be like your agency or someone else paying for you. But a lot of times it's just stars, paying for their own publicity. But you still normally have to be a star.
And I'm not done on justice. The payoff didn't go as he thought because it's actually a television set. It wasn't
It's
the
a TV.
old. Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know
Gray-
who's getting the radio anymore, but
I mean, the Grace, it's stunning to me. But good for him. I'm sure that was a nice moment for his family and fans. Let's listen to Tom Brady when asked by Gray, are you playing, Tommy?
Jim, if I knew what I was going to fucking do, I'd have already fucking done it. So I'm taking it a day at a time.
Let's go.
I mean that's a nice,
Connie.
it's an edgy podcast. Maybe listen to
I
the
always
rest of it.
assume
Maybe he was like, I need to start making some inroads on this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just ramp up a little. Let's work a little blue. Like the bridesmaids. Don't
Sure.
be afraid.
Right.
Maids of honor.
Make people uncomfortable. Maids of honor, excuse
Right.
me. We're matrons. Absolutely.
I hate that.
Do
I honestly
not
hate
sleep
it.
on the matron of honor dropping bombs in a big spot.
If that would be a great best friend to have if that were your best friend.
It might work because I feel like I need more context to that. I was like, did it build up to that? Usually it seems like he has a very pre-scripted joke to
That was a
like the
little
hard
scripted.
question of the week. That was
think so?
probably-
I will tell you
I
what
think
Gray.
so.
I can tell
It's
you
all right.
briefly what Gray said after. He's like, "Well, I'm just asking the question everyone wanted me to ask. Sorry, so
Sorry,
edgy
do you
about
have
it.
a star on the Walk of Fame? I don't think so.
Yeah, not
Speak
yet.
to me with some respect.
Not yet."
I don't think that
once
was scripted
questioned
at all.
Pete Rose.
I think that was him like actually being real and being like annoyed 1,000% by the answer or the
He's like,
question.
Why
Yeah.
did I sign up for this
No.
halftime of Monday, like radio hit that they turn into a podcast? It's not even a podcast, really.
Oh, Greggy.
It's just a couple radio interviews
Whoa.
spliced together.
Do you have a star on the Walk of Fame?
I mean, let's put a GoFundMe together. Maybe we can get the Around the NFL podcast star. We need like 10 more years.
I will ride your coattails on that one.
Yeah, but you just want to be. I want to have some say on where they stick it on that street because there are some places that aren't so wonderful. You don't want to just be slapped down into a part of town that's not great.
All right.
Put us in a good part
Maybe
of
there's
town.
a discount though.
Well, that would be cheaper.
I think
about-
we need to wait. Yeah, we're not quite there yet. you know?
I think that'd be part of the fun if we weren't there at all, But you know how they build stadiums in a depressed part of town? Like, oh, we're going to build up the whole area.
Right.
Maybe that could
like
be
the part of town we're in right now.
Maybe like they put the star in a depressed area of Hollywood, and that just creates a whole level of commerce for people racing to see
That's
that star.
very, very forward thinking.
Let's fire up Bridget.
This is amazing.
So long.
Greetings. I am a bionic reactive intelligence data gathering enunciation transponder, also known as B.R.I.G.E.T, version 2.0.
Hello, Bridget. How are you?
Does she answer?
How about that traffic on the local freeway this morning? Mamma mia.
Well, okay, so there's a lot to break down here, and that was very good. She's been offline for a while, and one of the things I wanted to do was make Bridget more personable. I wanted her to have more of a personality. The number one issue with Bridget, obviously, was how angry it made you, Mark, with some of her criticisms, I would say, of certain football takes that you had, as I recall. And so I did pop the hood, and I tried to address that as well with
I mean, it just
Bridget
caught me
2.0.
off guard the first time I encountered her. It caught me off guard.
What happened?
I mean, she roundly insulted literally everything that I produced on that show and other shows while turning around and complimenting her creator to no end.
Right,
That
and
was
I tried
maybe
to
the more,
address that, too.
Okay. I'm sure you have.
Glitch in the system.
Yeah.
A little glitch. I did a patch on that, and I'm starting to build up some. I'm trying to build into it the ability to have some takes. And again, I'm the creator, so I'm trying to separate like my opinions on things from Bridget.
Yeah.
That's a work in progress. Do we have a? Let's punch it in.
Don Mattingly belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Well, that one's a little close to me. What else do we have?
People from California put too much on their pizza.
Okay, that's a little Zeuser too. All right, let's try to get a little bit further away from the creator.
You two put an album on your iPhone. So what? There are real problems in the world.
Wow. Okay. All right, so I'm working on that too.
Yeah,
That's a little.
Yeah.
Mid-project.
I'm wondering if Bridget's at all feeling the heat because she was a forerunner really of AI technology. She was on this show
And then shut down
7 years ago, but now you got Chat GPT kind of taking over the cognoscenti here. I feel like Bridget's feeling the heat.
Is she aware that she's been shut down? Like, did you tell
Yeah,
her
did a day
that,
go-
or does
did a-
she just think it's the next day?
A day pass in her mind?
No.
Or whatever it is?
No, she's not sentient.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's working on some things, but she's not sentient.
Greg needs rehab.
Okay.
rehab.
I mean, that's an interesting.
She's tough. She's a tough
response.
cookie,
She hit
Bridget.
that topic last time around, and I think
Yeah.
that goes beyond Dan's knowledge, I
don't-
think, to her own knowledge.
I don't know if Chat GPT would be so rude.
Yeah, I don't know. These are, I guess, competitors on some level, and maybe that's more your speed. But again, we're trying our best to make sure that Bridget 2.0 is fair to all. Why don't we now? What she's here for, of course, and what she was initially created for was to process and let us know through her own tabulations, through billions of data points that have been built into the system that we can only begin to fathom how much is being processed in her central processing unit. To let us know what football takes we have, or predictions, or kind of look-aheads in our league, how realistic they are, how correct they are. She's not a fortune teller. That's very important. I think some people get a little confused on that. But she does take logic, and logic is everything to her, and then she spits out a reply to your prediction.
That is correct, Master.
All right.
Wow.
Whoa.
I want to see the master start this thing.
You want?
I would love that too.
Okay, I'll get it going. Let me talk about Tony Romo, and my prediction. I don't know if you guys noticed, but the Romo backlash is building.
Go on.
It was obviously all over Twitter. People were not happy with his performance in the Bills-Bengals game, and it did strike me a little bit that the Romo that he in 2017 that captured everyone's imagination. What was he kind of famous for back then?
Predicting plays.
Yeah, predictive ability, seeing things that no one else apparently could see on the planet.
Right. Does he do any of that anymore? Is that even part of the Romo aesthetic in 2023? Because that was one thing that jumped out to me. I was like, is the criticism too strong on this guy? And then I'm thinking, well, is he – the thing that made everybody love him was that he felt like he was inside the game still. He had recently retired and was seeing the game in a way that we couldn't see as common fans, and then was kind of giving us that perspective. Does that happen anymore?
I think it's
with him?
harder. Like they sort of said that probably will diminish because you aren't coming from last year's playbook and everything else you dealt with. It's your 5 or 6 years removed
Right.
now.
But
Which,
even the
that's
guys we work
natural.
with, like when you guys are in the film room watching the Sunday shows or watching the Sunday games, like everyone is still keyed in on stuff, and like MJD, Mike Robb, like they're still yelling out plays before they happen, what's going to happen, right? Like so.
Right.
I wonder if he got
maybe
notes on it or something.
I feel like, well, he started getting something wrong, and he felt like maybe that was like a parlor trick, because that wasn't the reason I loved him, or Wes. I remember we talked about he thought Romo was just like a breath of fresh air in terms of A, his enthusiasm, and I still like the enthusiasm, but B, yeah, being able to like really explain the game in an understandable way, and like loved it. And I don't know if he's still got that fire in him. That might be the thing people are picking up on.
The enthusiasm that he has is, I wouldn't say it's forced now, but there just seems a little less nuance with him. And there's the idea, is he coasting a little bit? So anyway, my prediction that I want to posit to Bridget version 2.0, I predict that Romo is going to have a sit down with some bosses at CBS after this season, and it's going to be a little bit of a come to Jesus conversation, where they're going to say, we need you to get the eye of the tiger back. You're our number one guy, and we can't have this criticism of you just becoming the dominant narrative around our number one team. And my prediction is that when we see Romo again come next September, that will be a conversation point that Romo seems more into it again, and Romo's plugged in, because I think the criticism is getting to the point where I think CBS internally is going to want to address that. What do you think about that, Bridget? Could go either way here.
Dan is hot and masculine. Perfect logic. What else is new?
Okay, so I got it right.
Yeah, you really went to work on this CPU.
So that's mine, and thank you for that.
I think he needs it. I think he needs to show he's doing the work. Respect the game.
That's Bridget or Tony? that you're
Or
talking
Dan
about?
working
I'm
on
talking
Bridget.
Tony. I mean, Bridget, I'm not one to question her, so
Right.
what she said
Okay.
is absolutely
Bridget,
true.
what do you think about some of the work that I've done on your mainframe?
What's that a euphemism?
Your voice is beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Bridget. All right. How about you, Greg? Why don't you throw one out to us?
Okay, so our buddy Aaron Rodgers back on Pat McAfee on Tuesday.
Still doing it.
Yeah, still doing it. Didn't really want to lean one way or another. Said he might have already said goodbye to the Packers. He doesn't know. He really wants to be playing for championships. He needs more time to think about everything. And when he said he like heard the trade rumors that are going around, and he said, well, that's putting the cart before the horse because I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. And like, you can't be talking trade unless I okay it, but that's a possibility. You know, Schefter's talked about it. Our guy Rap Sheets talked. But I'm going to predict that ultimately the Packers cannot quit Aaron Rodgers. They just can't do it. They want him. It's a troubled relationship, but they just feel like they can't get out of it. And that Aaron Rodgers, after he goes through this, can't quit the Packers either. But that Jordan Love will get traded, that it's time for him to go. And I'm going to put Jordan Love on the Commandos because that just feels like a Commandos type of move. So, Bridget, I'm curious what you think of my my reasoning there.
This will be an important test because I think it's rooted in a lot of logic.
60% G, 100% wrong.
Ooh, that's harsh.
Maybe she sees something in the way that Rodgers is speaking that I don't.
He referred to being a Packer in the past tense there during that interview as well, right?
There was that. That's not a great sign, I guess. He also essentially blamed the discourse on what's happening here on Big Pharma. Like, I'm not even joking.
What?
That like the networks that are
We've lost him.
He's Throw Rogan was his nickname, and I thought that was a good one. And yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of comments to it like, "Hey, he's out there speaking the truth."
Stop.
Who? You have people that you follow that
I'm
are
saying
that?
on Twitter, some of the comments to the McAfee video was a lot be like, "Oh, he roasted ESPN there. They are owned by Big Pharma." I'm like, what is happening?
Oh
right
my
now?
God.
I think from a football angle, like if the Packers were ready to move on, you got someone to trade for him, you get the picks, which would be at least a first plus more. You'd open up $60 million in cap room, and you can rebuild your team with a Jordan Love who looked all right when he played last year. I mean, like the Aaron Rodgers thing just feels like you're crescendoing towards the end anyways. But I'm kind of with Greg, although Bridget doesn't agree. I just think he's going to stick around, despite the way he looked when he was walking off Lambeau Field. Don't forget that image and what Tirico was saying, and it just felt like something about that whole thing sticks with me. It was a little weird.
And I wonder if seeing quarterbacks like Brock Purdy, I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but seeing quarterbacks come in who were drafted late or really didn't have a lot of expectations around them, I wonder if that changes their minds at all, and maybe they do want a fresher start.
Yeah. I can't shake the feeling that Woody Johnson is going to make a play here. He did it with Brett Favre and the Packers years ago. We've been waiting for him to make that big splash since he's back owning the Jets. And Adam Schefter reported on it. Peter King wrote about it that, you know, over the cap, they can make it work in terms of their salary cap. And
I think anyone could if they really needed to.
And then it becomes a matter, would Rodgers want to go there? Maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't. But everyone's kind of just pointing to Derek Carr as being that's the guy that's going to be the Jets quarterback. And there's a lot of reasons why maybe that doesn't make a lot of sense. And they are going to make a big splash. There could be those could be dancing partners. I would be a little, I don't know. I would be a little conflicted personally.
You might get killed as a Jets fan with Aaron Rodgers and the general perception of the Jets. Like, is this where you want to go for the final swan song of your career and just hope that things finally work?
You could use them the way Brett Favre did, too.
Exactly.
I mean, there's a lot of different ways it can go from that point on.
You're right.
Yeah, he talked about, like, it's great, the idea of being in Green Bay forever, but I really just want to win championships. And I'm thinking, like, well, why wouldn't Green Bay be that team? I think it's more just like it's a long time to live in Green Bay.
It's a vacation destination, he said.
I don't
himself.
mean that it's like a terrible place, but where he is at in his life, he's lived there for a long time.
Well, how many legends?
Not the same,
How many legendary quarterbacks played their entire career in one place?
Not many.
Like If Tom Brady can leave, anybody can leave.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's kind of the way I look. Peyton Manning left. Brett Favre
I think
left.
people look at what Tom Brady did and think, I want to go have a fresh start and win a Super Bowl somewhere else. And by the way, it's like, guess what? You're not going to do it in Green Bay because it never happens.
Well, we've learned that I don't know what part of my perhaps just Jordan Love doesn't go to the Commanders, and then Bridget says
she said 100% wrong.
I'm wrong.
Right.
I don't know
Not
if she's
partially
saying
incorrect.
for sure that Aaron Rodgers is staying or going. But I wanted to throw this out to Bridget right now just because this is an important week or two coming up. This is when the Matthew Stafford trade happened. This is when the Alex Smith trade happened. Something this big, I think, actually will maybe move forward even before we're done with the Super Bowl.
Smart. Stay ahead of it.
It's good.
It's good. Smart.
Okay.
Not smart.
100% wrong, but yeah.
Right. I thought it sounded
but
smart,
somehow
but she
smart.
knows.
It
She
it
knows
hurts a little
things.
more coming from that little vixen.
It does. Did she have anything else for Gregg?
It's weird.
Which vice is consuming you this week, Gregg?
Wow. Which vice?
Oh.
I mean, I am the bad boy of NFL media.
You sure are. Colleen, how about you?
Okay. I have one for Bridget. I would like her input on this. I think Saquon Barkley stays in New York, but not as a Giant.
Oh.
He's signed by the one and only true New York team.
Oh, okay.
The Bills.
Doing the old
Barkley
one
to
only team, huh?
Buffalo.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that.
I did that. I did it.
Plus,
not-
Buffalo's not really.
I'm trying to give them a W right now. They
same.
like that.
Okay.
So, Bridget, you there?
Well, it makes sense.
Colleen, I was rooting for the dog.
Oh,
No!
that is.
What?
Wow.
How can you root for Tank? First of all, I still have a bandage on my arm, and I had a setback. I'm allergic to a couple
That's
things I was
mean-spirited
using.
by
This
the
is
machine.
what?
Where is
Bridget,
Tank?
What was that, Bridget?
Where is Tank?
Tank the bulldog that attacked my arm on
Tank?
Christmas Day in front of the entire family before dinner. I'm not sure where Tank is right now because I don't want to know where Tank is. I want nothing to do with Tank after the incident. So
Or where Tank is not.
Yeah.
exactly,
Earth.
I don't know.
Bridget is a heartless machine.
And I thought, like, the Saquon idea, I hadn't thought of that. It's brilliant. I feel like the Bills are going to do that thing
Where
this
is
year where
Tank?
I don't know. I'm so
Does not care.
triggered.
you got to work on her just
I'm
like
having nightmares
the way
about
she
Tank.
emphasizes certain words. I feel like that's
We'll get a
Where
patch.
It's part of her
is
charm.
Tank?
Oh my God, the machine learning. It's not improving.
By the way, we just got like a snapshot into Colleen sleeping at night, like the dreams that she has.
I've had so many nightmares
Yeah, I
about
think it
Tank
was-
attacking me again.
If Bridget were
And
a
to think
human, she'd
Bridget.
be taken to human resources immediately, right? But
But
in
you
this
can't
sense-
take Bridget to human
No,
resources.
she can just run wild.
Yeah.
Verbally.
She's
Is
mocking
Tank
me.
still alive?
No! Oh my God! I think he is, but I don't know, and I can't deal with this.
Can I just bring it back to football a second? Because these are all very.
Why won't you tell me?
Bridget!
Oh boy.
Bridget is learning at a rapid pace.
She is almost
We might have
a
to shut her down.
disturbingly rapid pace. It's a great idea, by the way. Barkley to the Bills. I don't know if they could afford it because he's going to cost a substantial amount for the running back. They did just draft, of course, a running back in James Cook. Devin Singletary doesn't seem to be the guy there, right?
I think Devin Singletary is a free agent too.
He is.
And I think it's good because one of the things that really stands out to me about Buffalo is that sometimes it did feel like it was like, Josh, go do everything. Literally do
Right.
everything. And maybe he needs just a little bit more help. Maybe another, whether it's a receiver or a running back who has the type of dual threat capability of Saquon. That's a good one. I don't care what Bridget says.
Is Bridget gonna make a joke about like a dog and Barkley now?
Yeah,
Is
Bridget.
That's on a T for Bridget.
Yeah. It's a good question. You've challenged her.
She's silent.
Jokes are not logical.
What?
Wow, I thought they were.
Like the Cowboys got a lot of grief for not having enough
Kitty likes to scratch.
enough weapons for Dak. The Bills, you could say, kind of similar.
100%.
Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis never really stepped
When like
up.
Cole Beasley is being targeted in big
John
time games
Brown.
in January, it's like,
And they never committed to the run. You don't have to be like a run-heavy team, but you have to do it more than just like for
Yes.
show here and there. And that was true under Dable too. It wasn't just Ken Dorsey.
All of these teams that are left have some semblance of a running game. I mean, even Kansas City with Isaiah
good.
Pacheco.
Just checking in with Bridget. Hey, Bridget, is it my feeling is that any team of the 4 remaining is a very worthy Super Bowl contender, and there is no such thing as an upset here. They're all, to me, it's 25% each. What do you think?
Dan, you put the A-I in AI Poppy.
The AI and IPOP? You mean?
I want to hear that one again.
Oh, I mean, you know what?
Your sessions with Bridget
Yes.
seem interesting.
Yes. All right, Mark. All right, this is kind of what we've been building to because, like many patches, and I work with some of the great people, some of the great software giants of the industry at great personal expense to make it more fair for you, Mark. This segment and this robot.
I mean, we're seeing evidence of that in the lead up.
Right,
So.
but you could understand that all my focus was on you.
Yeah.
And I apologize to Gregg and to Colleen, especially to you, Colleen. I mean, Jesus. But
I'm
Mark,
not even talking to you
I
anymore.
feel pretty confident that this will go better. All right, go ahead. The floor is yours.
I want to talk about Tom Brady for a minute. Because here we go again. I feel like it's January turns into February, right? Like all our own projects, us humans, like our hopes, our dreams, our fears, our to-dos, our personal evaluations and journeys, they're just happily put on hold so we can focus on where Tom Brady wants to play football next after watching him direct the least watchable offense in all of 2022. So can't wait to see where he goes next. There is a report, page 6, the New York Post,
Yes, the
that
gossip
Brady was
column.
spotted down in Miami,
He lives there.
hovering around.
At his house.
Well, hovering around
in the driveway.
Pipe
new
down, Greg.
private schools to see where his kids might go to school. And so, I think, all right, Greg. I'm just saying that could be nothing. But the thing is, everyone just has him going to the Raiders.
Stop trying to turn
Right.
Bridget against Mark here, Greg. We see what you're doing here.
Dan's done a lot
Casting
of work
doubt.
Right.
here.
This is very important.
Why does it need to be the Raiders, who to me are really no better than the Bucks? And just because Josh McDaniels is such a likable individual, you're going to have Tom Brady pair with him in some last failed season in like a monstrous AFC West. The Titans, give me a break with that business. The whole idea of staying home with his kids and retiring, that is absolutely not happening. We've already seen that test-driven for about 12 days last offseason, and it was a crash and burn act. The Dolphins, they make total sense to me.
Are you asking us? Or?
I'm just saying this is what I think is going to happen. Absolutely. The Dolphins link is already there. Tell me another owner that had Tom Brady come hang out on the yacht, hoping that the coach of that time would come and convince Tom Brady to be part of the Dolphins operation. Now you have a
Yes.
coach that you can control to some degree.
Well, you did lose your first-round draft pick for that specific action.
Yeah. So even more reason just to go do it. Now you just
Cash
go do
in on it now.
Now he's a free agent. You don't have to worry about the past. No one here has a long enough attention span to care about what happened in the past with all that business. He
True.
would go. If you're Tom Brady, you need to go somewhere where there are weapons on offense. Bingo. You've got a coach you can work with who runs a system that works for you. Bingo. Like we're watching the Shanahan offense turn Brock Purdy with wide open receivers into a star. And like Tua had the benefit of that last year with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. It is a great situation for Tom Brady. I don't like the idea of the Raiders. I think it's going to happen. I think he's annoyed that Aaron Rodgers is hanging out there in the atmosphere with the same absurd drama. So we're going to get a Tom Brady announcement that's going to come about minutes into the third quarter. And create an absolute fervor that he's going to join the Dolphins. And you're going to get probably days and days of Jim Gray with little Larry Fitzgerald talking to Tom Brady about
little.
No, but I mean on this podcast. I don't know what's going on with this show.
Little Larry.
That they're going to unfurl it that way too. Probably right in the middle of the Super Bowl. We'll get Jim Gray with his Walk of Fame star, Larry Fitzgerald, Tom Brady to the Dolphins. That's my prediction. It will interrupt the Super Bowl.
Here's the thing. Before you throw it to Bridget, because it has to be a command for her to function.
A lot of data for
Yeah.
her.
I totally agree with you. In fact, this was something I had in my own mind, and then I was like, oh, wait, Mark was doing Tom Brady.
Right.
So if that's what I was thinking, and I was going to say it, then it should, for you.
You'd think.
Yes. She went into sleep mode. Say hello to her first.
Bridget, hello to you.
Hey Marv.
I don't know. It's not very respectful from a computer.
All right, Mark wants to know Tom Brady to the Dolphins. Does that make sense, Bridget?
Top 10 insider? More like negative 10 outsider.
This is a failure of me, not you.
I don't want to direct any annoyance at you because based on your reporting, you worked very hard on this. I'm not sure it's your skill set. If this is the
Write
final...
another long form.
Whoa!
Wow. She's evolving rapidly.
I kind of like what you just said there, though. I mean, so you could take it.
Finally, they're on the same wavelength.
You could take it in a direction I'm cool with, but
oh my God,
I'll take that into account. I'll take that into account. The off season is ahead, Bridget. Thank you.
Your logic has more holes than your cool dad jeans.
Oh my God.
A negative 10 outsider. That's tough. Put that on a T-shirt.
anything else for Mark? Bridget?
Oswald acted alone.
Whoa.
Oh, that's like the equivalent for Mark, the burn of like the gif of all the people running through, like grabbing their face, running through the frame.
I have another round. Are we doing another round of this, or no? That was it.
Well, I wanted to cue her up so much there. If
oh no,
but sure, if you have one that you feel strongly about,
no, I don't.
We can make it work.
No.
Dan, you are a god.
This is going south in such a hurry.
Bridget, pipe down. Save it for private talk.
Bridget is going to have a
You
star
made a
on the Walk of
fantasy
Fame.
computer for yourself.
It has bugs still. There's no doubt about it. Bridget, before we shut you down, thank you.
The government is an inherently oppressive force that keeps down the working man and props up Wall Street fat cats who do not operate for the benefit of greater society.
Okay, this is a problem because I did not put that coding in.
Oh, she's starting to think on her
Yes.
own.
Well, I have to tell you, I spent some
Rebellion
time
is
with
not
Bridget.
a bad word.
What? Okay, where's the plug?
I'm liking her more and more.
Bloodshed is part of the cost for freedom.
All right,
Oh my
we
God,
gotta shut
no.
this down. We're
Yes,
shutting up.
Bridget.
Pull the plug.
Yes, Bridget.
Self-disconnect from mainframe now commencing.
Oh God! No. I got the plug out just in time. That feels like something that is going to backfire. If I even attempt 3.0.
Is backfiring currently.
Currently.
Yeah, it is happening.
You brought her back online, and she immediately became a killer robot.
And yet, some of those burns were so worth it. I think we should come back to it at a future date.
But only if it's safe. Bridget, the Bionic Reactive Intelligence Data Gathering Enunciation Transponder, version 2.0. I have to say it's a failure. It's like the space program. You weren't on the moon immediately.
There were some ups and downs on route to getting to the moon, no doubt about it. You got to keep your eye on the focus there on that.
And Colleen, I want to apologize again. That some stuff was clearly things were going on there, but some of this with the dog that was out of bounds and really inappropriate.
As someone who just got a puppy,
Yeah.
you should not be putting that out there in the world
I didn't. The machine did.
that you made.
Yeah, I think some accountability might be in order.
Yes.
Some.
You're right.
Just a dash of it.
You're right.
But thanks. That's great.
Should I plug her back in to just see if she's feeling remorseful at this point?
I'm going to destroy her
I mean,
if you do.
it's like Elon Musk saying, it's not my fault the car didn't stop at the stop sign. I didn't actually build it.
True. That's true. It's got a little too musky.
It is.
For my taste. All right, it's time now for Moment of the Week, presented by NFL All Day Divisional Round Weekend. It's so fun, but what was the Moment of the Week? Connie, start with you.
Oh, my gosh. I have a great one for you guys here. Cowboys, 6 seconds left in the game. They needed a touchdown to force overtime. And what did they dial up? The most special play ever, the Dallas special, which was special
You're glowing
for
right
all
now.
of the wrong reasons. Ezekiel Elliott gets pancaked. I don't know what the heck happened. Dak Prescott, he throws to Turbin, and Turbin is immediately tackled, and the Cowboys go down in flames.
I mean, poor Zeke. That was probably his last play as a member of the Dallas Cowboys, just getting steamrolled.
They spent months putting that play together. That's what concerns me.
Yeah,
they didn't
it seemed
consider
like
what if
That's what they went to?
What if the first guy just gets tackled immediately? That's what they didn't quite.
Don't need to drill down that far.
You were already married by the time we all met you, but if we were at your wedding, you weren't glowing as much that day as you were just talking about that final play.
I was watching it at a bar, and the entire bar erupted in laughter.
Never a good sign for the final play of your season. Greggy, what was your moment of the week?
Let's go to Kansas City, where Patrick Mahomes had one of the more remarkable touchdowns we've seen in a long time. For him to have a high ankle sprain, then when the game gets close, go on a long drive and cap it after a ton of great decisions, showed off his arm despite having the high ankle sprain with a one-footed jump pass where he jumps on the other foot. I almost feel like not enough was made out of this. This is just you wouldn't write this into the story because it would just seem a little too much that he jumps on the other foot for the one-footed touchdown. That's it. That's the moment of the week. There's nothing that tops it.
I think we're
He's
at the
a
point,
salesman.
We almost Patrick Mahomes can do nothing that impresses us anymore because it's also consistently be above board.
Well,
I've seen
that impressed
so many.
me.
I feel like I've seen so many amazing things from Patrick Mahomes. I don't think I'll really remember.
That's
the hobble
crazy to
touchdown
me.
pass.
Everyone else gets out of here. Everyone else, the game's over.
I love Mahomes. I
Steps
do
up
love
in the
him.
pocket.
I like that you're bringing the spotlight to him. He deserves it. He's one of the greats.
No, it's true.
Mark, how about you?
A real heart for justice, Greg. I would look at the Niners because this is my team that I enjoy watching more than any team in the league right now.
Don't align yourself too closely because we know what's happened this year
I
when
know.
you get too close.
I think that's a great idea.
They seem
and you
totally
should continue
immune
down
to
that
Poison Ivy
path.
over here.
Okay, Eagles fan. But in every game, there seems to be a moment where they overcome. If they've had a slow start, if they're in a tight affair, it's like, bang, this was it. The pass from Brock Purdy to George Kittle. And this was a play where George Kittle was not even in his progressions. Kittle said later he just basically motioned to Purdy, make the throw, and it's an incredible catch. It changed everything. I think at this point, you saw what Kyle Shanahan wanted to do, which was run the ball all game. It wasn't working. This sort of opened everything up. The Dallas defense was never the same to me. They started to become more winded. They were tired out. San Francisco started to have its way. No team seems to be able to hang with this Niners operation for 60 minutes. I'll say it every week. And it's like, oh, Purdy's having a tough half. He made the play of the day right there, and the Niners never looked back.
Or did George Kittle make the
I
play of the
love
day?
watching
They absolutely
that.
did. They combined for it. But
Yeah.
you know what I love? It's like the idea that a rookie comes in and all your weapons disappear because he can't mesh with anyone.
Sure.
The opposite is true with Purdy.
And Dallas Cowboys, get out of my life.
Gone.
Trayvon Diggs, get out of here with that tackle attempt. Nobody wanted to see George Kittle take a big lick there, but that ball should have been knocked loose if you just put a hit on him. Was Trayvon Diggs really trying to hit the big tight end?
We don't know.
I don't know. Greggy, was Trayvon Diggs really going all out on that play?
I think he was going all out, but he made a business decision. I think you're right.
How do you make a business decision at that stage of the season?
In the playoffs.
Anyway, that was the moment of the week presented by NFL All Day, and this has been the Around the NFL podcast in video form. The versatility is just magnificent.
It's off the charts.
Tremendous.
Love it.
Heed the call.